All right, let's go ahead and do it. Let's do an audio and visual check. Can you guys hear me? And how about you? You can see our amazing guest, Rips, right above me. Let's do an audio check with you.
What's happening? How's everybody doing out there?
Sounds and looks good to me. Joel,
Check. Everybody can hear us?
Oh, sounds so good.
Oh.
Like I said, I'm still always nervous about this audio. Regardless of how many times I do it, there's just something about just doing everything myself and then making sure things go smooth. Maybe it's just the perfectionist in me, or I don't know. I know you have a little bit about that. I remember the sound, and it's just how we are, I guess.
Yeah, I think the first time that I ever came here on your Slow Markets show was probably about a month and a half ago, maybe even 2 months ago. Time has just been flying by this year, but you had me on about 2 months ago, and I came on and I was Mr. Roboto. So it's nice to not be Mr. Roboto this evening. So I really appreciate that very, very much. And it's so good to see everybody. We already have 888 people in here. That's a very lucky number. If you folks can do us a favor in here, I would really appreciate it. I know Coach Dakota would too. If we could just smash that like button as hard as possible. It's actually right down there. It's right below Dakota. I think it's underneath his black shirt there, his Topstep shirt. You just click that like button as hard as you can. Let's see if we can jam this up to, I don't know, let's go for like 500 likes. It'd be really, really nice for, I think that would be really great to hit 500 likes.
I mean,
it'd be awesome.
When we first started Slow Markets, I was in competition with a daytime show. I've kind of
I just lost you, Dakota. I can't hear you right now.
You can't hear me now? You should be able to hear me. Let's make sure you could hear me okay. Audio's going through on my end. Oh, all right. If not, I could feed it into you some other way. Let's see. Yeah, we could hear you fine, Rips. You just can't hear us. Give us just one moment, guys.
All right, I got you back now.
Oh, okay. Yep, we could hear you fine. Perfect.
Sweet.
Oh, it made me nervous for a minute. Was that just a joke? Maybe you were just messing with me. That would have been a good one. That would have been a good one. But let's get in it. I think what we're going to do is we'll do a quick kind of fast, rapid fire like I've been doing through the NASDAQ crude oil, Nikkei, and gold. I did take a trade right before I started the stream. Right at pretty much an hour ago is when I took that trade. I was, I have to admit, I was just getting out of the shower, getting everything set up, and I seen a trade. I entered it. We'll go over, we'll review it, and then we'll do a fun Q&A, and we'll do some fun talking shop going back and forth. Not too much pressure. I know, Rips, you don't trade this slow markets very much, but we will talk about it. As always, if everybody who's joining, we're starting to get up to 1,200 viewers. Welcome to Slow Markets. It's a special with myself and the amazing Rips above me. There's our Topstep risk disclosure. As always, we're going to be talking about the live markets, and we all have our own agency. And all the time, I always say this is not signals. Do not do exactly what I do. That's not what the point is. It's for trading concepts. It's for talking about how to become a better trader. Not, hey, let's all just hop on the Dakota trade and hope we all make money. Even though it's been working a little bit, like the house account. Yeah, we could all admit that on Tuesday. Tuesday was awesome with you, Rips. We made, what, $9,000 in the house account?
And then, but that paled in comparison to what you folks did this afternoon. That was an incredible trade. And that was such a sniper shot. You guys and gals just hit it right off the bottom there.
That's one of those trades where, like, man, could you imagine if we would have just held the full 20 all the way through?
Not only that, but taking John Hoagland's suggestion of adding 10 more. And I like that a lot. I was egging that on too.
Me too. You know what? I liked it so much. You've seen me take 5 off Dopey.
Yep. If I was not shut down for the day already, I would have joined you right there. I thought that was a perfect ad and then the perfect exit. It was just such a beautiful, beautiful trade.
Yeah, it's one of those. I mean, it was hard to tell if Hoag was joking or not. But I've never heard him say anything like that in the chat. Just add 10. I'm like, okay, something's weird. He was just playing a joke with us. But no, he was serious and with reasonable, because that's exactly where I got in at. And of course, we can't physically just take a trade from another trader. We did it kind of theoretically where Dobie was closing out a 5 and I was just getting into 5 on the same thing. Maybe there's a small chance that I took a contract off of him because I was getting in as he was getting out. But yeah, let's go through this. This will be really quick. There's a little bit to talk to. We could talk about NVIDIA. You probably have a lot more insights than I do on that. But here is the NASDAQ. I'm going to jump to a daily chart, and I'm going to do a rapid fire, and then we'll do some Q&A with my trading buddy, because it sounds like trading buddy is been very important for Topstep, and they're pushing it, and we have some fun stuff to talk about. So here's the NASDAQ daily. Not too much going on, kind of like what we were talking about yesterday. We're at all-time highs, right? We made all-time highs on that NVIDIA earning news, and it's just a very hard place to trade for me. I'll get your opinion on that, Rips, in a moment, but it's a hard place for me to trade because I'm a perma bull, and we've rallied so up. We're making all-time highs. It's very difficult to find areas to buy it for the way that I trade. And then I don't want to sell it because this market's been so bullish and we've been rallying so hard. And then if we zoom into a 60-minute chart, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. Outside of the trade we took during the house account, we basically bought the dip. That was kind of the dip we were looking for. If you could imagine what we were looking at last night, we were talking about having a little sell-off, very similar to this, to buy the dip during the afternoon session. I didn't trade all day, and we had that nice sell-off down to 700, and very, very, very basic. Guess what? This support became support again, and it worked very beautifully for the house account and the power hour session. And we gapped up, of course, because of NVIDIA earnings. And now we're pushing all-time highs once again. We're pretty dang close to 18,900. And I wouldn't be surprised if we just continue to drift higher. But it's too hard for me to trade. It's too hard for me to trade that. So I'm going to pass on the NASDAQ. Let's jump over to crude oil. Crude oil, I'm a little more tempted to trade. I do know that the inventories, it's always off. It's very rarely in line. Essentially, if there is a cheap trade, if there's a good risk reward trade, it's going to be down here at these lows, where we are able to get in around $76 a barrel. Looks like we're at $77 a barrel right now. I would be halfway tempted to take some long positions down here, and I could have my stop loss a little bit lower, so that way I'm having a very cheap trade and see if we could push up. We haven't yet found a great opportunity to buy. I have not traded crude oil. We just finished the rollover, and this market has been just too choppy for me to trade. I've been looking for opportunities to buy it. There has not been one for me and myself. However, the further down we get, the more attractive it looks to buy it. But we could very well break through this. And the next area that I would be looking at is, of course, we zoom out. We could zoom out, and we can continue to look further to our left. And maybe there's a conversation to be had to buy in the 75s, because we know that crude oil likes to hunt stops. And if we do about around 75.50 is what I'm going to be looking for. Next, let's touch on gold, and then I'm going to talk about Nikkei, and then we'll open up to some questions. So gold, that short trade last night on gold would have worked out very beautiful again. I wish I would have taken it. I did not. Look, it looks very similar to this, right? Where we had that nice little fake out to the long side, and then we had another lower high. Well, I mean, that's kind of what we had here, right? Fake out to the upside. We had a lower high, and then we just tanked. And it looks like as I'm talking, we're starting to gain some momentum with the market selling off again. I don't want to buy this. We're starting to sell off. We kind of broke that, or we didn't kind of. We did break this bullish trend. We broke this bullish trend. I am confident to say that we're no longer in a bullish trend based off of this price action, and that we're starting to turn into a bearish market here on gold. And I would much rather be a seller of gold. I know that's a little bit inverse of crude oil, but this could have been the trade. I would have preferred we bounce up a little bit higher and then sell off. We just made new lows here in gold. So I'm a bear gold. I'm going to wait for a pullback, and then I'm going to look for areas to short gold. And then last but not least, we have Nikkei. Nikkei was, I made $2,000 tonight on Nikkei. And there was a couple traders in Discord that I was talking to who also made some good money on Nikkei. This is a 100-tick chart on Nikkei. Let's go ahead and start with this zoomed out point of view. And sure enough, we all know Nikkei has been kind of trending. This is very simple, very basic. We're going up and to the right, and we've sold off. We came back down to where we can start to find some support, and we start to zoom in. This is one of the most simple and basic technical patterns. It's called a double bottom. When we double bottom, we broke this high, right? Like we made a W, we broke out, we pulled back, and then I got into some longs around this zone, and sure enough, I ended up taking profit. I think I even have my trades on here. There we go. I wish it's always the problem when we have a good winning trade, right? We always wish we had more on. We always wish we had a bigger size when we have good trades like this. And this, sure enough, was the case. If I zoom into a 5-minute chart, you could see it a little bit better. Maybe a 1-minute chart would explain it. But yeah, there's my trades. There's the double bottom. I know it's really ugly because of the thin order book, but there's the double bottom. We broke out and we sold off. We came and we tested this zone, and we rallied right up. I closed out, and of course, hindsight trading, you always wish you had a runner, and it looks like we're starting to push up. I would not be surprised if we come and we break above this and we test 39,000. But I took my trade. I'm done for the night. I'm happy with it. I made $2,000 on that with my live account. Rips up there looking like a proud dad.
I love that. No, I thought that trade was beautiful, by the way, because I watched the dip as it was happening. And by the way, I think it was a little bit of a reaction to Japan's May preliminary PMI manufacturing number. We did have the Korean bank coming out with the fact that they're keeping the rates unchanged right now, at least for the reverse repo. So that kind of caused that move to the downside and then that subsequent push back up. And I saw you spotting that when we started to pull back in the Nikkei. And then you just snipe that entry again perfectly off the lows there. And it's so great that you're able to show your executions on it. So fantastic trade there.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't let me because when I execute from my phone, it doesn't transfer to this platform. It did now, so that was nice. We always want to be 100 transparent whenever we're doing anything on here. And I love that about your streams, Rips. That's one of my favorite things about it. And I don't have social media, but I get on YouTube. Everyone knows. Everyone has YouTube, and I see and I find like, okay, what's this person doing? What's that person doing? And my goal all the time is to help the community, and by helping, it's transparency. So we could kind of just show you which is the proper way. Make sure that, hey, I screwed up. I had a really horrible, crappy day or crappy day trading, and we show it because I personally, and I know there's a lot of you out there and yourself, Rips, we learn so much more from our losses than we do our winners.
It's very, very true. Yeah. I mean, if you're just winning all the time, I mean, fantastic. That's great. But, you're usually in the pocket. All of your best lessons are going to be coming from your losing trades. And, with that said, I don't think you've been learning that much lately, Dakota, because you've been on quite the tear lately, just smashing it, snapping necks, cashing checks over there. I still believe that I think you're like 100,000 over second place right now. But yeah, it's just been really, really great to see that. And you being my trading buddy, being able to interface with you all the time. Every day we talk on Discord and being able to get your feedback and talk with you. It's been so tremendously helpful to my own trading. And folks out there, if you haven't found a trading buddy, discord.gg/Topstep is Topstep's free Discord. You can go in there. You can find a trading buddy, find somebody who's like-minded like you, somebody who's in the same time zone, somebody who has an interest of trading the same instruments that you're trading out there. That's what I'd highly recommend. If you don't have a trading buddy, trading alone is a very lonely venture. I did it for years, and it's just not as fun as sharing your journey with somebody else. And that trading buddy is going to hold you accountable. And I know that's one of the themes of the show that we're talking about tonight. You want to be holding yourself accountable. You want to be finding somebody that will hold you accountable. You want to find somebody that can preach discipline right back to you and that you can be honest with. Because, one of the hardest things in your trading journey is to take pause, evaluate where you are in your own trading journey. And if you have a trading buddy, they're going to call you out on your nonsense, and they're going to call you out on all the things that you're lying about or the things that you're doing wrong, and they're going to hold you accountable through those things. So I highly recommend, if you haven't already, join up with the Topstep Discord. Again, it's discord.gg/Topstep, and you can find yourself a trading buddy on there. Highly recommend it.
Have I ever held you accountable to anything, Rips?
I think almost every single day. I think almost every single day. You are encouraging, but you keep it real with me. If I'm having a really bad day, you're right there to tell me that, hey, you're having a bad day, and I know it. But yeah, it's a real thing. I mean, having that support system, that buddy system, it's a big deal, and it goes a long way in trading, and it's tremendously important in trading success, in my opinion.
Even if it's someone to vent to, you guys would be surprised how much I actually message Rips. I started out, and if you believe this, guys, I started out my week Sunday night, daily loss limit, $9,000 loss, and the first thing I did was message you, Rips, and say this is completely annoying to start out a week, because number one, it sucks, especially when you're in a live account. And number two, it sucks because it's going to be mentioned on TopstepTV the next day.
There's that extra level of accountability, right?
Yeah.
By the way, I do want to mention this. We are having a little bit of breakout in the NQ here. I do have this up on my chart. We were kind of topping out. Yeah. We had the Globex open level. We hit that level probably about an hour ago, and now we just had a breakout of that level up there at 877. My target to the top side is actually all the way up at 894 halves here. So if we do have continuation in the NASDAQ, I might take a little scalp here on slow markets. I mean, you might bring me into this whole slow markets.
Is this bad? Am I creating bad habits for you, Rips?
I mean, I like to go into the day with just a flat account balance, but hey, who's to say it wouldn't be nice to have like a couple extra grand in the XFAs?
I mean, it does feel nice sitting here with a couple extra thousand in my life account. I'm not going to lie.
See, that's what I'm going for here.
This is how it was last night. I think we were just sitting here watching, and the next thing we know, just NQ just bounced, and the high of this NVIDIA push was 18,891. I kind of agree with you. This is a 1 minute chart that you could see, and very often when we have something like this, and it's like everyone's waiting for a pullback, and then we never get it, and then NQ just drifts higher, and then push like a little break like we did higher, and then as soon as if we do break above this 18,091 level, I wouldn't be surprised if we see 18,900. That's a nice fat round number that we could definitely see. One thing that I do see and that I am looking at is when we closed off trading at what time is it? 4 p.m. Central. And then we opened up again at 5 p.m. Central. We did have this massive gap. Like, this is a huge gap that we opened up from that 1 hour break of trading. We essentially closed at 18,816 and a quarter, and then we opened up all the way at 18,860. So that's over a 40-point gap. And then we kind of retraced a little bit of it. And from a technical standpoint, pretty I just love how technicals work. Like, look, there was some support here from the NVIDIA earnings, and that support became support again. I wasn't watching this chart, but that could have very well been a great opportunity. And since then, it's just been going up, just like last night.
Yeah, exactly. I do expect this to drift higher. The thing that I would really like to see tomorrow, when I'm going to be trading this, I like to trade right before the New York Open. I usually come on, start trading around 8 o'clock in the morning. We do have some news tomorrow. It's going to be exciting to see. We do have jobless claims that are going to be coming out tomorrow at 8:30. They come out every single Thursday, but these are extremely important because we've had a lot of Fed speakers this week specifically alluding towards that they are specifically looking towards these job numbers. And it's kind of their linchpin right now where they're saying, hey, you know what? We've looked at a lot of this data. We don't have anything outside of PCE. I think that is on June 31st. Correct me if I'm wrong, which is next Friday. But I do believe, I'm sorry, not June, May 31st. We're not in June yet. Slow down, Dakota. I hear you.
Time goes fast.
But yeah, so this is going to be a big print tomorrow. We had the NVIDIA earnings after the bell today, but this is going to be The second to final piece that's going to be coming out this week, we have jobless claims tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central. But then we also have the University of Michigan final read for May. This is going to be out on Friday. So those are the two final prints that I'm watching here. Okay. But tomorrow, I think that we will have some specific volatility around these jobless claims. So what I really like to see is a pullback in this market. And I think you would too. If you could comment on that, because I mean, the markets, when they're running at all-time highs like this, it's really hard to just kind of close your eyes and hit that buy button versus let's get a nice clean pullback somewhere in the technical range that you were talking about and maybe right along there.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. Like any time frame, even like hourly, daily, it's so hard. Even though, closing your eyes and just hit the buy button would be working, but it's hard to do it. Do you look at that flash manufacturing PMI and the service PMI? That's coming out tomorrow as well. Yeah,
I do, but I like to rank news and importance of the cycle that we're in. And currently, and by the way, we have Austin in chat here. Say what's up to Austin. Hey, how you doing there, buddy? So it's one of those things where we're ranking news by importance of the cycle that we're in. And the Fed is telling us exactly what they're looking for when they're looking at adjusting their rate policy right now. And so right now, they've come out and they've said specifically that we're looking at this piece. And before it was, we're looking at CPI, they're looking at PCE, but specifically they're looking at the jobs market right now. And because employment, by their words, is a little bit too strong right now. So if we saw jobless claims up tomorrow, that means that more people are out of work. They're filing for unemployment. That means that people are out of work, and that's good for the Fed. It's not good for the broader economy, but it's good for the Fed's mission of keeping rates contained and potentially lower. So if we do have more people out of work tomorrow and the jobless claims print is an outlier, then there's a good potential that we will see the markets kind of take that as a signal to continue racing to the upside here. And 19,000 doesn't seem like too tall of an order. It's only 120 handles away at this point. So 19,000 could be
we moved that in like 15 minutes in Power Hour today.
Exactly right. And to think that we're not going to be trading 19,000 by Friday. I mean, if you're not expecting that is one of the possibilities of something that could be happening here, you got to get your head checked, because that's absolutely something that can happen. Now, on the other side of that coin, let's not all be too bullish here. On the other side of that coin, if the jobless claim numbers come in and the jobs are still very, very strong, there's less people that are filing for unemployment. In this case, jobless claims are down, unemployment claims are down. Well, that means that it's likely that the market could crater on that. Just a really quick cheat sheet on this is that if jobless claims come in lower, the market should go lower. If jobless claims come in higher, the market should go up higher. That's pretty much it. That's your cheat sheet for tomorrow, and that's the news that's going to be out at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern time tomorrow.
I love that. I think what I love most about what you just said, Rips, and this took me a long time to realize. I don't trade the news, and we all know I'm a technical trader, and anything can happen. However, I think the key for myself is that even though the news comes out, say once a month or every week, it can have different importance depending on what type of environment we're in, right? Just like you said, like, I guess it's the same data that's coming out every single week or every month or every so often. However, it's just for some reason what's going on in the market, what's going on in the economy, it could have either a higher or lower impact, which is great. And that took me a while to learn, because when I was pulling up, say, Forex Factory, I was like, it has a red and it says it's important. Well, maybe this is a little more important than that one, or maybe this week is more important than that one. And paying attention to those things is very important when it comes to understanding, number one, when we could expect volatility. Number two, when maybe just to sit on our hands, right, and not even trade. And three, pay attention to those things. And I will not trade based off of that. I found that in my own personal trading, I try and predict it. And then I was like, you know what, this sounds good for the market. And I end up just blowing and hitting my daily loss limit based off my own opinion. And the market's doing something that I didn't think it would do. It's like, the market I think should go up. And it was doing the opposite. So that's me personally. But for anything, it's more important for me to understand when the volatility can come, how big of a volatility is expected. Just like what we were doing during Power Hour, we knew NVIDIA earnings was coming, and we expected some volatility. And if we didn't, then we could have been caught with, for lack of a better word, with our pants down, not what no one was going on.
We're not on the golf course, don't worry.
Oh, you heard about that one too. I just never. So I need to keep things more to myself. Worst
By the
experience.
way, NQ is pushing up here. And as we're yapping away here, NQ is continuing to push up, and we are seeing some bids solidify. Slow markets is such an interesting market. I rarely ever trade the Globex session, but when I do, I definitely would focus on NQ and ES. But I'm actually surprised. I mean, not really, given how tremendously strong the NVIDIA earnings were. I'm not surprised to see it pushing up like this. But like I said, a topside target here is not too far. We're about 11 points away from the target. 894 halves is, again, what I'm looking for to the top side here on NQ. And it's really starting to boost, scoot, and rally up here. Yeah. Let me ask in chat, is anybody in chat long in the NQ right now? What are you folks trading? I see a lot of folks out there, you're trading gold. Any NQ traders riding this NQ long? It was a beautiful basing down there at the VWAP, down there at 863. But I'm curious if you want to bring up gold as well. We have a lot of gold traders in here.
Yeah, I'm
talking about how gold is just flying directly into the floor right now.
I learned how to do a poll. What was the question here?
Gold or NQ? I think that we just ought to put up the GC chart, because everybody's talking about it now.
Let's see. Let's pull up this GC chart. Oh, yep, there's that sell-off.
Holy smokes, you called that one right when we were getting on the stream here.
See, I'm really good at calling trades. I'm horrible at taking the trades I call.
What would a guy, I mean, this is a good discussion, because I'm looking to the technical pattern there on the left. We have a clean breakdown of that technical pattern on the left. What would get you into that trade there?
Fair enough. That is the question that we all ask. Like, why did I not take it? I think it's going to be helpful
for people to understand that.
Yeah, that is a really great question, Rips. Is why did I not take this trade when I kind of was pointing that out a little bit, that, hey, we've broke down this bullish trend that we've been in since the beginning of May, and we're starting to become bearish. Besides yesterday, I was having to take some amazing trades short gold up here, but when we started selling off and breaking down through that, why didn't I? And I was bearish, right? As soon as we started slow markets, I'm just thinking to myself, why did I not just take that short? Well, number one is we already had a nice sell-off, and I was just like we're talking about NQ, right, where it's going up and up and up. So why don't I just buy it here? Close your eyes and buy. I think it's the same concept, right? Where I would much rather wait for a pullback and maybe like have a nice little pullback to some type of resistance, and then get a really good risk reward type short in the direction of the market, or at least the current trend. So that's why I didn't take this. I wasn't truly convinced that this was the pullback from 78 to 85 in my personal trading, which with hindsight it would make sense, because look at this. We did have support right here. Support became resistance. We have a lot of support here. This was resistance before. And now that I'm looking at this a little more and more, I could probably convince myself that that made sense. Like, that is making more and more sense. And I'm sure if we zoom into a 5-minute chart, we could probably see it a lot better. And I could just point out, like, hindsight trading, look at that. We did get that pullback. It touched that support, became resistance, and then we just sold off from there. So yeah, there was a trade to be made there. I wasn't seeing it. I wasn't comfortable taking it, even though hindsight, it looked really good.
Well, let me ask you this, and I know that this is something that a lot of traders, even veteran traders, struggle with this. Is there anything that would bring you into this trade right now? And just be honest. I mean, the answer is probably resoundingly no, right?
Yeah, the answer is resoundingly no. If I want to be honest, my first instinct and intuition is probably not good. And I'm sure that's what a lot of traders are having right now is, ooh, where do I buy for the bounce?
Right.
And that's my instinct and my intuition, like on this type of a move. Like, man, we sold off. We're very extended. Do I buy here? Do I go long? Because I don't want to miss out on anything, because we've all been there. We've seen it during the Nikkei trade earlier, where gold sells off, and then we have a nice bounce, just like earlier today when we was watching D and the team trying to take that long gold, and they missed out on that opportunity. And so we're probably getting traders with the same feelings, and I know I still feel that same, like, man, if I would just get in long right here, then I might be able to catch that bounce. But that is where I get caught a lot of time if I do not have a reason to get in. And I don't trade gold too often, so I don't have that confidence to buy a bounce like this or buy a sell-off.
I think there's a lot to unpack there. And I think that is one of the reasons why you're so high up on the leaderboard. And it describes a lot of your trading style. And it's something that you've clearly developed throughout the years where you're not impulsively taking a trade because the price is doing something, right? Obviously, we don't control the movement of the market. We aren't controlling, we aren't manning large trade desks where we're holding $100 million positions in these different instruments. We're trading on prop accounts, right? You are trading in your live account often. I have a live account. I don't really trade it all that much because the balance is so low at this point. But when you're trading that live account, your orders are actually hitting the market. But to think that your orders can actually manipulate where the market is going is a fool's errand. Now, with that said, knowing that our goal here is to go with the flow of the market and understand that we cannot dictate where the flow of the market is, the one thing that we have to battle as traders is that impulsive feeling that we get from time to time where we say, you know what, I do not want to jump into this. I know that I shouldn't be jumping into this. And then before you know it, you start jumping into something and you're getting impulsive with your trades. More often than not, that's always, 80, 90% of the time, and just throwing out a random figure here, it's going to bite you in the behind. And it's something where controlling those impulsivities, those moments of weakness, controlling that is a lot to do with your success in trading. Would you agree that that is a big formula to what you see as your trading success, Dakota?
Yeah, for myself, like I said, I do watch your streams, Rips, and it's definitely a different style between the price action on a technical analysis during like a slow market period now, and then playing that momentum in the morning when there's high volatility, and then you are reacting to the price, right? And I love that, and I want to get better at it, and I've been trying it, and it's helped me become a better trader, if you believe that or not, to watch it, because there is a level, and I think we've seen it play out. We've seen it play out today during Power Hour. I've seen a little bit of it and I would love to replay that in my head, and maybe I'll rewatch the TopstepTV stream for that trade, and I hope Danielle and the team clips that. I remember Dobie and the team, we got in long 20 contracts when we sold off. And let me just pull up NASDAQ right now. And I want to go back to where we got into that trade. And maybe you could help me understand this, because it's an honest question. This was the trade. Dobie, I think we had like a buy limit order at 714 for 20 contracts right here. And sure enough, we did sell off, and cringing, it didn't hit the stop loss, and then immediately reversed and went straight back up into these 30s. Once price was at these 30s, I remember there was an order that came out on the books that was on the bid that was just below, like it was at like 31, 32, something. And we went down, we tapped it, and then immediately turned around and went up. And I don't remember exactly. I don't have the best of memory. I have to rewatch it, but there was 100% something to it. And I remember Andre saying, like, hey, there's 100 contracts here, this, and everything was moving so fast. That's typically not the way I trade. I was just trading based off technicals. And I was like, just hold it. We need to hold these 50 because this is a beautiful technical pattern. But then there was also something that was happening on the background that supported that technical pattern. And that was bigger contracts coming in. And I never did get to see it. And it just makes me so, and I've always been enthused about it, but I've never been a great trader. I just stay in my lane. I do what I'm successful at, but it doesn't mean I don't learn those things. And I'm interested in it, and it's very important for so many traders. So how does that work? So maybe that's too general of a question, but
no, I was there. I was there when that was all happening. I was watching the order flow, and I know that specific piece that you're talking about. And it's funny, Andre's actually in chat here. He remembers where the number was that you guys were buying in there. But that's a very interesting thing that you can see. And it's very contextual, right? Order flow is very contextual in the sense that if I tell you a certain pattern that you should be looking for when you're reading order flow or when you're reading the tape, it's never going to be a one size fits all. So that if you're seeing something happening in the tape, it's contextual in the sense that we just had a tremendously strong pullback. We had a quick bounce, and then we had what is a retest of liquidity. We flashed through a certain key level where you almost got stopped out, and then we quickly reclaimed that price action. On a next retest to the downside, if there are solid bids down there, in this case, you saw actually on the tape, you could see on the order book, before it even came down and hit that, you saw a large order there sitting in the order book. Now, a couple things that can happen there. it could be a bluff to bring down the price action, where people that are saying that if they're long in the position and they want to get out of that position, let's say that somebody bought a number of contracts down on the lows, right? If they bought those contracts, they look at that and that is now their exit door. They know that they're not going to encourage any slippage on that. They can take an order into the market, and then that bid that you see in the order book can take that liquidity there and now. Now, that can be a bluff where that if you do an order into the market, they can pull that faster than the orders actually do hit the tape, and you'll flush through that level. Now, what happened in the case of where you're talking about, where we actually pulled back, it didn't even get back down to that large size. It didn't even tickle into it because there were folks that were front running it. And the moment that other algorithms see that other players are front running those large orders, they start to back off that price. And the more that people back off, it becomes this cascading effect and this explosion of momentum to the top side. And that is exactly what you saw. It's a very common pattern in the same type of thing where you have a large flush, a retest of that liquidity, and then that order flow shows some strength, and then we retest down into that. But the thing is that we didn't even get back down to those large orders that were sitting there. Instead, there was folks that were front running that liquidity, and that's exactly what we saw that encouraged that momentum back up to the top side. It was very exciting to see that happening live.
See, and I never do watch the order book, but I seen it happen on this 100 tick chart, and I seen it, and it's very hard to do with hindsight now because the market's just stopped and it just candlesticks. But as I was watching this 100 tick chart, I seen it, and it was so interesting because it happened right here, and I was so happy I took those 5 contracts because it was right here. You guys can see it. You pull up at my screen, and I know Coach Jay also reads the tape, and he's amazing at it as well. But we had this little low right here, and it was exactly at 730 or 18,730. But then we had a little run up, we failed to break, and then we sold off again, and we literally only went 3/4 of a point, like 3 ticks below that. And then the next thing we seen was that huge burst of momentum, and then all the way up to, like, look at this, all the way up to 782. And the 100 tick chart makes this a lot more dramatic because look at that rally. Like, there is no turning around. Like, look at that. It was just straight up. And man, we held those trades, and it was great. Of course, I closed it out early. I was the guy that closed it out here, and then missed that. But that's okay. I was happy with that trade. I made a quick $1,500. It was just amazing to see, and I wanted to ask you that question tonight. And it's always something that I always come up because I'm still learning at this in terms of the order book, reading the tape. I understand the very basics. I mean, I've been trading for over 14 years now, if I could believe it. And I've always learned this, but I've never practiced it very much. And I've never became good at it because I've just stayed in my own lane. When I am trading, I just focus on myself, and I haven't really cared too much. But we have a lot of traders here, and I'm sure they have those same questions. So it's great to hear your commentary on it and perspective.
And one of the great things is that you don't have to abandon whatever style is that's working for your trading. Mm-hmm. It's something that you can use as a confluence. So when you're looking for your technical patterns, if you're starting to read the order flow in tandem to reading your technical patterns, right there, we just hit our 94 halves, by the way, on NQ there. Just kissed it right in the nose there. So beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there it was. Straight to our level, 94 halves. Just beautiful. What a move.
That was an example. Just close your eyes and buy.
Got that.
Close your eyes and buy RIPS. Come on.
We were talking about it before it happened. I'm happy to be on this show and not trading, but I mean, it was fantastic. I hope that some of you folks out there caught that beautiful, just that perfect kiss right on the button. Those 94 halves, just beautiful. But yeah, so something like that, exactly like that. When we're looking at technical patterns, you can pair it with order flow, and now you have confluence where it gives you a lot of confidence to ride out your trade. Remember, we're putting on risk. We're putting on probabilistic chances in these trades. And at the end of the day, you're either going to win the trade or lose the trade. But if you can build up a lot of confluences, it helps you to stay in the trade for longer. So Dakota, I heard you saying that, you wish you would have stayed in for maybe another 10 or 15, 20 points in that trade. if you're having the confluence of looking at the order flow and saying, well, now that we tested lows here and we're seeing that people are firming up those bids, and in fact, we couldn't even entertain lower than that 729 level. Well, now that gives me the confidence to know that there's probably a short squeeze in play, and all of these early shorts that were on the left side of that V pattern to the downside, they're all going to get blown out to the top side. And I'm going to wait until I see that counterbalanced order flow to the top side where we have very thick offers. We have people who are accepting that order flow, and that's what we call that blow off top. Kind of what we just saw there into that 94 halves. We had a bit of a blow off top into that area.
And funny thing that you say that, because I'm a technical pattern. I was happy with that. I was happy with 5 contracts, $1,500, 15 minutes right before the close and NVIDIA earnings. But Coach Jay, I think yourself and even Hoag called that out. Hoag was like, VWAP's 82. Coach Jay was saying something similar, and they were like, I think it was like value area low or something, and they have these different ways to looking at the markets, and that was just very fantastic to see. And that's why I'm always looking to learn. I'm always looking to improve, and I always tell you, even off camera, Rips, is I'm not the best trader. There's so much that I still have to learn, even though I've been doing this for so long. You could literally spend a lifetime, and I know Hoag can vouch for this because he has spent a lifetime in the markets, and he's still learning. It's such an interesting thing. I wish he was here. I need to.
He is great. I'm a huge fan of Hoag. I mean, between you and Hoag, I think probably my 2 favorite traders that are always on Topstep TV. I just love watching you folks operate. It's amazing. And that's one of the beautiful things about trading is that we all have such uniquely different styles in trading. I'm big on momentum and order flow. You're big on technicals and the wizardry that you produce on these trades, which is just like, oh, I'm going to buy Nikkei here. And then all of a sudden it's going straight up, or I'm going to sell Nikkei and then 200 points to the downside. You're like, I'll cover here. And that's the bottom. I love seeing that kind of stuff. It's amazing.
Like I should have bought gold.
You were you've been talking about these trades, and it's great. At least you're giving it to our wonderful audience here, which by the way, we do have 2,000 people in here watching. You folks could be so gracious. Hit that lucky like button. Would really, really appreciate it, and show Topstep that you do appreciate Dakota and myself being here and enjoying this time together here this evening.
Love that. You love that. So we have a question that came in. Question, Rips and Dakota, how should we read or interpret the resting orders up at 18,900? So let me pull up a DOM and take a look, because I have no freaking idea. Most likely people just trying to sell it at a psychological level. But that's my guess. That's the Nikkei. Let's take a look at this.
Are we just talking about the flat level of 18,900?
Yeah, I think that's the main thing. I see. Let me see. I'll tell you if I see anything. 44 contracts at.
I'm not seeing anything special up there. There's no special level about that. The level that I have that is important is above that at 938 3/4. Will we hit that during the when I'm fast asleep during Globex or London? There's a good chance that we could hit that.
Yeah,
but
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you first, please.
I was just going to say, we do have a lot of Euro news coming out during the London session. We have a lot of French flash manufacturing PMI, service PMI, the German flash, German services. So we do have a lot of news during the London session. So we could expect a lot of volatility between now and tomorrow morning.
That's right. And that's the beauty of being I trade mainly the New York session, and that's the beauty of trading my session, is because I am able to wait until most of the algorithms are turning on, and that kind of liquidity gives me a lot of room to play in. I'm one of those folks who just really enjoys playing in a very high liquid environment, which has been kind of what we haven't seen lately in the markets this week and a little bit of last week. We are potentially entering into those summer doldrums where there is a lack of participation in these markets. And really, there's not much going to be happening until that next FOMC, besides that PCE read that we talked about here at the top of the show. But yeah, these markets are losing a little bit of liquidity. But if you folks are liking the slower type of markets, the slower type of trades, trade in that Globex session, trade in that London session. It's very slow like this, and it gives you an opportunity to really take a pause and read the market. And if you're trying to learn how to read order flow, record these areas of the market, record these sessions, because you can go back and see what's happening in that in the dome, in the time and sales, and really start to teach yourself how to read that order flow.
Yep. Nope. I agree. And summer doldrums, it gets even slower for slow markets, guys. Trust me. We have been spoiled the past few months in slow markets with this volatility. Trust me, this is very volatile for slow markets. I come from a background to where trading this time of day is how I became consistent and how I'm a trader. And I'm looking at an hourly time frame. You've seen I look at the daily time frame, and I'm looking at these higher time frames. And I don't really care too much about volatility when you're looking at higher time frames, because it's kind of a swing trade. I mean, it's crossing the line between swing and day trades. But here we are. We are breaking up. I mean, I'm not going to be surprised. Yeah, I was gonna place a quick scalp. I was like, I'm going to see if I could just buy it here at 95 and close it at that 900 level, because I'm pretty confident we might just see 900 right here.
Yeah, it's one of those things where right now, because we're coming off of the heels of strong earnings in NVIDIA, it's one of those things where the market really doesn't have any negative news. So until we have that print coming out from the jobs, the unemployment claims tomorrow morning, we don't really have anything to go off of outside of that. So the market can continually grind higher on practically air here. And that is simply because if folks are short, they want to end that pain. They just have to get out by buying into their positions. And if the market makers know that, when they're providing this limited amount of liquidity, they'll provide even less to the top side. So that makes these offers very thin, and it pushes the market higher. And then more people are getting squeezed, and the perpetual cycle continues.
Yeah. And who wants to sell it right now? It's hard to just sell it. Yeah, it's a hard market to trade, guys. It really is. And I agree with you, Rips, 100%. That's what I'm waiting for. Just waiting for a pullback to find some opportunity to buy the market. Waiting for that volatility, like you said, Rips. We do have unemployment claims in the morning. That's going to be a key. I'm not on Topstep TV in the morning, but most likely I will be waking up to see how it goes.
Yeah,
you'll be trading it though, Rips, right?
Yeah, I will definitely be trading that tomorrow morning. I always like to trade the news prints because that does give us a tremendous bout of volatility, and it gives us a nice little, it gives us a window of opportunity, meaning that, the jobless claims are coming out at 8:30 tomorrow. Sometimes you'll have news that comes out at 7, sometimes at 8, and I'm speaking in Eastern time zone here. So sometimes it'll be out at 7 Eastern, 8 Eastern, 8:30, and then maybe there's even some prints that are coming out at 9. Tomorrow's schedule huge push.
What just happened?
Huge push. That was that was a lot of stops being popped there above 900. So we had a lot of basically some folks that were short there. Their limit on those shorts was just above 900, and all of those stops just got ran there to the top side.
Well, I guess maybe I should have just closed my eyes and buy.
So that's like 3 trades now that you called out absolutely perfectly, but we're giving that alpha away here for free on the show instead.
I would rather be in my bank account than not in you guys'. Come on.
Well, that's the one thing about being an educator. You sacrifice being able to sit there and focus on your own trades, but it's just as fulfilling, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's why we're here. That's why we do this. That was nice. 12, 13 point bounce in a split second. We could probably zoom into.
That was a beautiful breakout of those 900s there to the top side. But yeah, as I say, we are pulling back just a little bit here after we just had that beautiful stop run there to the top side. We have some bids firming up at those 900, so there is a chance that can firm up and we can continue to grind even higher. But yeah, so you have this window of opportunity when this news breaks at 8:30. You have an hour to trade between 8:30 and when the market opens. And so if you're a trader and you're looking for more opportunities that are maybe not out there after, say, 10 a.m. Eastern time, a good window to trade for newer traders out there can be 8 o'clock Eastern time in the morning until about 10 o'clock. And you take that 2-hour window, and that's all you really need to focus on.
Yep. But you don't need a lot of time to trade the markets. And we all know this. Everybody here who's been following me for a little bit is I had a job. I was going through college, and I spent literally only 1 to 2 hours every single night about this time trading, analyzing the markets like I do here on Slow Markets every single time I'm here, Monday through Thursday. And that's how I learned to trade these higher time frames, 60 minute, placing the trade, letting them run overnight, waking up in the morning, and it hits my stop loss or take profit, and I move on to the next. And maybe that's helped me disconnect from the emotions of the the tick to tick movements and the little price action, because it's like, hey, it's going to either hit my stop loss or take profit. I know my risk. And I think we've seen that today as well during Power Hour. That helped the house account make some good money. Is, hey, it's going to hit the stop loss or take profit. It went straight down, almost at the stop loss. So it's like, okay, well, we already risked it. Let's hold and get paid for that trade. And it worked out really well.
And I will say this, if you are kind of looking at the markets like this, and you are saying, and I'm speaking about the indices right now, S&P and NQ, if you are seeing the markets continually rise like this, and you're continually trying to short these markets and you're getting blown out, you need to take pause and instead wait for a technical breakdown in this, because it's just as bad as trying to catch a falling knife. You're getting in front of a freight train. And even though you might say, this is completely irrational, it shouldn't be going up anymore, this doesn't make any sense, the NVIDIA earnings were not as good as that everybody's playing it out to be, none of that really matters, because again, we talked about this at the top of the call. You're not in control of the flow of the market. Your job is to ride the waves of the market and pick out really good spots, really good entries, really good exits. And even if you disagree with what the sentiment of the broader market is and what the market's doing, it doesn't pay to be correct in your own mind. It pays to be correct in trading the patterns and trading around the volatility that's in the market. So please be cautious if you're one of those folks that is continually shorting on a rally like this, or trying to be right and claim that, this shouldn't be going up anymore. Yeah,
I have to admit, I tried a short yesterday. I'm not on Topstep X, so I didn't get that beautiful lockout feature. And yesterday, after I made I think it was like $11,000 or $12,000 during our show, I went golfing. I got back from golfing, and I was like, I watched Power Hour. I'm like, hey, if there is a good opportunity, I'm going to take it. And then I shorted. I gave back $1,200, and like, that was just completely stupid. I learned my lesson on that one.
It happens to the best of us.
Man, 1 hour goes by really fast, Rips. It
really does.
7 minutes.
I see a question in here from Dig TV. They say, Rips, how do you trade news? Do you wait until after the volatility? That's a very good question, and I get that question quite often. So with news trades, there's a specific style of trading that, and it comes from years of experience of doing it over and over and over. I've traded a lot of earnings with equities, trading those live. You learn to have fast switch reaction, but there's more to it. In trading a newsprint, you're looking for what the estimates are, and you're weighing it against the actual print. Now, if you don't have a real-time squawk service or a real-time news service, you're probably not going to be able to trade the immediate reaction of that print, because what can happen is that the news can be delayed between the time that the market moves and between the time that you're actually hearing it. Let's say you're listening to a squawk, and if you don't have a real-time squawk, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Now, that's because you can have a print kind of fake you out, and then it can look like it's going to the upside and the print was not actually favorable for the market, and then the market immediately tools back to the downside. So in playing these prints, you want to make sure, number one, that you have a real quick, fast news source if you are going to play the breaking print itself. Second of all, you need to have an understanding of what the expectation is on that print. So if you're looking for, let's just use whole numbers. If you're looking for a jobless claims of 100,000 and you know that an outlier print to the upside, maybe 150,000 would be an extreme print, and that would make the market go up. Now, if the print comes out and it's 145,000, you want to weigh that against the price action and see that immediate reaction. And on that, then you want to judge how much risk you want to put on the table. And then hopefully you have hotkeys to trade it and you're trading that live. It's a very, very specific style of trading. You can always learn how to do this on a practice account. Should you start trading in a combine right away and start employing this strategy? Of course not. Trade it in a practice account. See if it's something that's your flavor of ice cream. Get comfortable with it and practice. I mean, this is the great thing about Topstep. They give you a practice account with every single combine. I mean, you can reset that practice account until the cows come home, or in this case, the goats come home, and you can just keep on resetting and resetting. And there's no penalty for that. So if you're wanting to learn a new strategy like trading on the news, trade it on your Topstep practice account, and you'll start to learn what the ins and outs are of it.
Yeah, and I've never heard a single Topstep member not recommend trading in a practice account, because our goal, and everybody I've ever talked to here at Topstep, has been practice. Don't do anything stupid. Practice. Do it in a demo account. Don't buy a bunch of accounts until you feel confident. If you can't do it in one, you can't do it in multiple. And to go off your point, Rips, is I don't trade the news, but I do trade what you call the afterglow. And it's pure technical analysis. And it's the same thing. And Just like right now, this was kind of a technical analysis scalp that if there was a news event, I might have played that because of this pivot high that happened during the NVIDIA news. And sure enough, that's what it was. Like, hey, if we break out here, most likely we get to 900. And man, that was just a beautiful trade. And like you said, you called the 894 and a quarter or and a half. And man, don't we just love trading?
Sounds like you have a little dose of FOMO coming on, but
I always have FOMO. Ask these guys every night. There's always something that I'm calling out or seeing. And last night there was a Nikkei trade. I'm like, man, that's a great trade. Coach Jay, you got the best price. And now here's a good example. If I was to get into it, I would probably get into it now. And then like literally a minute later, it just jumped up. I'm like, well, I have to end the stream here because I went and I just went to bed.
One of the easiest ways that I've always gotten rid of FOMO is I always just imagine if I wasn't at my terminal there trading, right? And FOMO is really hard to shake. If you're sitting there at your terminal, you have analysis paralysis or hesitation, you don't take a trade. Usually I just like to get up. Maybe I go to the gym, maybe I work out, get away from the terminal, get away from the desk, because then I just start to imagine, I was never there, was never going to trade it. And just imagine if you're on vacation, let's just say you're in the Maldives, like Island Mike, and you're not in front of your trading terminal and the market's happening and it's doing loop-de-loops and it's doing all this fun, volatile stuff, right? You're not going to be trading it regardless. So if you can kind of put yourself in that same mindset and say, well, I can sit here and I could be miserable with FOMO, or I can imagine a reality where I was never here in the first place. So having this idea of this emotional reaction to the market is just a fool's errand. And you just drop it and you just part yourself away from those emotions.
Hardest thing to do. It really is. Even no matter how long you trade, it's one of the hardest things to do is controlling your emotions. Yeah.
It is. A question here from Phoenix says, Rips, how do you place your stop losses during news plays? Very good question. I use bracketed orders. I trade on NinjaTrader currently. There's a thing called an ATM strategy. It's an automated trading strategy. Every single trade that I enter automatically puts a stop loss in there, and that stop loss automatically scales so that if I'm adding to my position, it also adds to the number of contracts in my stop loss. And I usually run a 60 tick, not point, 60 tick stop loss when I'm trading in the NASDAQ, and about a 40 tick stop loss when I'm trading in the S&Ps.
Awesome. That's beautiful. And on that note, I believe these things are going to be added to Topstep X. There's a lot of feature requests on Topstep X. I recommend everybody in here that has some feature that they love on their platform. And if they want to see it on Topstep X, log into Topstep X. There's a question mark on the left-hand side. Go in, recommend it, because everything that you guys like on your other platforms, I'm sure it's eventually going to get onto Topstep X. It's amazing. Like Topstep X is really becoming one of my favorite platforms. I'm still going through that learning curve too, of getting used to it. And if you're not on Topstep X, I'm not going to recommend like, hey, you need to be forced. I'm not there yet. I'm trading my live account here on NinjaTrader, and I'm going to slowly learn and get over that learning curve. And then when I feel comfortable, then yeah, I'm going to make that switch. And I'll reach out to Mick. I'll say, hey Mick, I'm ready to make the switch. Can we get my live account to Topstep X? I'm not sure how that will go. I'm not sure exactly how it would be, but at least I'm going to at least be practicing combines. And when I feel that confidence and maybe get funded again and go through that process and make sure everything's kosher before I trade, almost a $200,000 live account in it.
Well, probably by that time, it might even be $250,000. Let's not sell ourselves short here. Speaking of, I did see MP actually had a couple, I think he put a tweet out right before we went on Slow Markets here talking about, and I don't know if he's watching right now. MP, if you're watching, good to see you. I see Danielle's here, Andre's here. We got Bruno, we got Coach Jay. We got the whole squad up in here. I love to see everybody in here.
Oh, I'm a chismoso, Rips.
But yeah, so MP was talking about there's going to be an updated change to the program, and I think that was what he was alluding to, something with potentially maybe more XFAs when he was talking about the program change. We also have the mobile app coming for Topstep X, which is going to be super exciting. Hotkeys are on the horizon. So all of these things are all built around the community, and it's interesting to see the duality where Topstep out here is posting these tweets about, hey, we're listening to the community and we're really wanting to help out the community, versus you have other funding companies out there that are saying, hey, if you guys say another word in this Discord, we're going to shut you down and close all your accounts. I don't know. It just seems weird to see this kind of duality in the funding space right now.
Just let me zoom in. I found it.
Someone found it. There it is.
You know, this is amazing. I don't have social media, but I don't think I need it because traders just send me this stuff, like anything. and when you said that, I immediately got a DM and there's like, here's a screenshot. And I took a screenshot of it. Yeah, that's what MP said literally an hour ago. So rumor has it, a bunch of wild updates with new features are coming to Topstep X, and a much requested program improvement, all happening here really, really soon. Man, folks at Topstep continually innovating. Heard that rumor too.
Yeah, the program change is the one that I'm excited about. And that was the one when we were both on Fast Markets together with him. He kept on talking about program changes. He's like, I don't really like this thing, but there is a program change coming. And when he says, I don't like this thing, I think of copy trading and I think of potentially more accounts. So that's the one that I would be super juiced about. But who knows? Who knows what MP has up his sleeve?
He's all but spilled the beans when he
feel like it's right on the tip of his tongue, but he's just not going to say it.
Yeah, it's like...
And look at Danielle in chat saying, I would definitely be tuned in next week. Wink, wink, wink. I mean, come on. There's something brewing
Are we going to, Danielle, can we convince MP that we could break the news here on Slow Markets first? Let's see. Let's break it on Slow Markets first before we do it on TopstepTV Day Show.
Yeah, so there's something brewing. But, I mean, again, I go back to, where are you going to see a CEO that's literally so concerned? I mean, the fact that he comes on his show and he actually trades, it shows you how much the guy loves to trade. And you want to have somebody who's running a funding company who has that love for trading, who has that experience, somebody who came from the pits of Chicago that is a real deal trader. That's the kind of person that I want to be around, where they're really interested in backing real traders. They're seeing people like you, Dakota, who have been wildly successful on their live trading program. That's the type of person that I want to surround myself with, especially if I'm going to be trading on a prop firm.
It's so interesting to have your CEO come on early in the morning, show his face, answer questions, get into the trenches. I love it. He has a series 3, and MP and I message back and forth, and he's like, Dakota, you should get your series 3 as well, or was 6? Whatever.
Series 3.
Yeah, 3. Series 3. And really pushing for it because it's not a joke. It's a legit. And he's like, just do it. We want everybody on TopstepTV. We're trying to push for this, and I'm all for it. And so I'm like, yep, you know what? I'm going to do it. Everybody here, you guys need the people that you are following that hopefully help you guys in your trading journey. And I think it would be only fair to you guys, myself, and the community to get those certifications so that there is no question. And then when we do have new traders who join for the first time, can see that, hey, this is legitimate. It's not just some guy on YouTube. It's just not some random YouTube channel trying to trade the markets. It's a legitimate company, a funding company that is really here, that has the expertise, that's certified by a regulated body, and wanting to help traders go through the process, learn in a simulated environment to ultimately transfer to a live environment and make live real money and become future traders.
Yeah, I love it. It's honestly, being able to have this as an opportunity is tremendous. And I came from the world where I was trading my own money, and if I would have had a prop firm when I first started trading, I would have saved myself a whole bundle of cash. And I think that's something that is just a tremendous opportunity that we have here and now. Trading on Topstep is just amazing.
Yeah, fair enough. And there's that gold bounce we wanted. Let's leave it at that. Let's leave it at that. Thank you so much for coming on RIPS. We got to have you on more. I love having guests, even though it's a little bit of a challenge. I don't want to say challenge, but it's always a little nerve-wracking with the audio, making sure things are working. It's a little bit more extra work, but I think it's well worth it for
I think everything looked and sounded great, Dakota, and I really do appreciate you having me on. I thank everybody for tuning in. We had almost 2,000 people in here tuning in for Slow Markets, and that might be a new record there. So what a show. This has been great. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Definitely a new record. Hope to have you on more, and then maybe vice versa. Maybe, you know what? What's your thoughts on this, Rips? And while we have everybody here, what if we did some type of a collab in like Las Vegas?
Oh, ooh, I like that. I like that a lot. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
We'll have to talk behind the scenes and figure something out.
I like that. I like that a lot. That could be really interesting, actually.
We could maybe do something and then go hit the felt, go play some poker. I don't know. I think there's something there. We'll have to talk behind the scenes.
Definitely. I'm looking forward to it.
That would be a fun little something I'd love to do.
100%. I'm in.
All right. Take care, guys. Take care, everybody. And I will see you tomorrow.